The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to the CIECAst. This is Fred Iantorno, Executive Director of CIECA. In today's presentation, Mike Anderson will share some insights as to what the future holds in regard to the role of telematics and the connected cars will play in the collision industry. Some of the topics that Mike will cover include: why are the OEMs focused on telematics and the connected vehicles? Will self-driving cars really happen in the foreseeable future? What role will OEMs play in the future with regard to first notice of loss? How will this impact the damage analysis process? What collision repairers will need to prepare for before they disassemble vehicles? And much more. There is no one in the collision industry who hasn't heard of Mike Anderson. He is the acclaimed champion of everything that is or could be right about the industry. As one of the most knowledgeable people in this field, he is a sought-after speaker, author, and consultant. Mike can discuss and teach on a wide range of topics relating to everything from the politics affecting collision repair to researching repairs properly using technology, to giving and getting the best from insurers, and to performing an exactly correct repair, just to name a few. There is nothing Mike doesn't know, or pardon me, if there's anything Mike doesn't know, he will find out. Speaking with passion as well as firsthand experience, Mike teaches pertinent cutting-edge management and operational techniques, but that's not all. He is guaranteed to leave you laughing and highly motivated as well. During the webinar, if you have any questions, please type your questions in the webinar navigation pane. We will answer as many as possible at the end of the presentation. I want to thank everyone for spending your time with us, and to our presenter, Mike, for sharing his insight and expertise with us. I will now turn this over to our presenter, Mike Anderson. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Fred, and thank you to the team at CIECA for having me today and for all the attendees. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into it. My presentation today is on the impact that telematics and connected vehicles will have on the collision repair industry. So we always have to begin every webinar with a review of the antitrust statement, so please bear with me as I read this. In today's webinar, we will not discuss any issues that would violate antitrust guidelines. Surveys of prices, discounts, and costs are permissible, but only under strict guidelines, and only if they're not part of a conspiracy to fix prices or to otherwise restrain trade. Remember, the prices charged must be calculated and determined by the business owner alone, and these prices should take into account the cost of doing business and include allowances for a reasonable profit. All content in this webinar is based on standard economic and management principles. Profit margins, labor rates, etc. used in this presentation are to be taken as examples only, and the intent of this webinar is to provide attendees with basic human resource management skills that will enable them to determine their own individual rates, profit percentages, and other operation aspects of their businesses strictly on an individual basis using generally accepted management principles. So now that's out of the way, let's jump into our webinar. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about something that happened at a conference that I was at about 5 years ago. About 5 years ago, I was at a conference, and there were several vehicle manufacturers there. And they talked about the way first notice of loss worked. They said, and keep in mind this was 5 years ago, they said, you know, a person's driving down the road, they're in an accident, and when they have an accident, they will then usually call their insurance carrier, and they'll say they had an accident, and the insurance company will say, well, you know, Mrs. Jones, do you have a shop in mind? And if the consumer said they didn't, then the insurance company would refer them to a DRP shop. Well, at this conference 5 years ago, several of the OEM manufacturers were there, and they said that in the future, when you were in an accident, the vehicle would actually take and notify the OEM, and the OEM manufacturer would then take first notice of loss, and a voice would come over the vehicle sound system, much like maybe you're familiar with OnStar, and it would say, you know, Mr. Jones, your vehicle notifies you're in an accident. Are you okay? Do you need EMTs? And do you have a shop in mind? If not, we'll tow it for you to the nearest certified shop. Now, at that time, Kristen Felder of Collision Hub, she made an awesome video, and I went around the country and I was sharing that video to people. It actually kind of showed this futuristic view of how this would work. And so what happened was, since that time, 5 years ago, many people have been reaching out to me and saying, Mike, you said that this was going to happen where I'd be in an accident or a consumer would, and the OEMs would be notified, and they in then turn would contact the customer, you know, via like a voice through the car. Well, how come this hasn't happened yet? And is it really going to happen, Mike? Well, I hope today's webinar will answer some of those questions for you. Now, first of all, since that conference, as I shared with you, people were asking me, Mike, is this really going to happen? If so, when will it happen? Do vehicles even have the capability to do this today? And if they do, then how come I'm spending all this money for OEM certifications and I'm not seeing any referrals? Again, I hope in today's webinar, we'll address these questions and more. Now, first of all, it's very important that we in the collision repair industry, as all stakeholders, whether it's an insurer, a shop, or an OEM manufacturer, a parts vendor, distributor, whatever, we need to realize we live in a very connected world. So really, when did all this start? In my opinion, the age of the connected car began in 1996 with General Motors' introduction of OnStar. It was the first wireless in-car driver assist system. Now you'll see here in 2016, GM actually celebrated 20 years of OnStar. So it's really been around for quite some time. If you look now as we're closing in on 2020 here around the corner, we'll see that OnStar has generally been around almost 25 years. Now let's talk a little bit about what's happened with OnStar since it was founded in 1996. First of all, they've processed 5.5 million emergency services calls. They've processed 270 million turn-by-turn navigation requests. They've also, if you look in the bottom left-hand side, they've actually assisted 3.9 million people with roadside assistance and 390 million with vehicle diagnostics. So as you look down here, ladies and gentlemen, you will see that OnStar has been used quite a bit since it was founded 19 years ago. Now, in 2016, there were 250 companies in the connected car and telematics space, and they had over $38.7 billion in funding, right? That's a lot of companies and a lot of money in 2016. Well, let's see where we're at today. Ladies and gentlemen, they are predicting that the connected car market will spur innovation and growth among automotive and non-automotive industries alike. And for companies that are willing to invest in the automotive industry of the future, payback could be huge. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about how, as an insurer or as a collision repairer, this could actually impact you and the way you position yourself in the future to thrive and not just survive. So keep in mind, in 2016, they had about $38 billion in funding. They're predicting that by 2020, it will be a $141 billion market. And it's going to allow the OEM manufacturers through connected car and telematics to provide vehicle diagnostics, roadside assistance, mobile Wi-Fi, which is really important to consumers, but most importantly, in our industry, automatic accident messaging. So ladies and gentlemen, understand that this is coming at lightning speed. Now, let's talk about kind of who has this. Well, first of all, Acura has what's called AcuraLink. If you look at Acura's website, they actually have this statement on their website. It says your vehicle constantly monitors critical telemetry like airbag status, GPS location, and most critically, collision sensor activity. If an airbag ever deploys, the vehicle automatically sends an event report to AcuraLink support. So this is today, not futuristic. You go right here and you'll see that Hyundai on their website, they actually take and they actually share this chart. And they show that every Hyundai vehicle has what's called automatic collision notification and assistance. They also compare it to GM's OnStar, Toyota Safety Connect, BMW's Connected Drive Assist, and Mercedes-Benz Embrace. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, many, if not most all OEM manufacturers have the ability for the car to be connected. You'll see right here again, Hyundai BlueLink says that they have automatic collision notification and assistance. Let's look at Lexus. Lexus has Safety Connect. Now, you'll also see right here in this screenshot that it says it's complimentary for up to 10 years. This is really important, and I'm going to tell you why in a few moments. All right? You'll see also at Lexus Safety Connect, it says in the bottom right-hand corner, automatic collision notification. In the event that your vehicle's airbags deploy or you're involved in a rear-end collision, you'll automatically be connected to a Lexus Safety Connect response center. Let's go ahead and look at Nissan. Nissan has what's called Nissan Connect. You'll see right here that Honda has what's called Honda Link, very similar to AcuraLink, and it says automatic collision notification. So ladies and gentlemen, first of all, as I've showed you some examples, it seems that most OEM manufacturers have this ability for the car to be connected to like the internet. So really, I think we really need to understand what's driving all of this. Why is this so important? Well, first of all, it's important to remember how and why we got here. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think it's any secret that consumers today want more comfort features in their vehicle, and they want to be connected 24/7. But that's really not the driving force for these rapid advancements. The driving force for these rapid advancements is really about vehicle fatalities and from accidents. So first of all, what we need to understand is that in regards to self-driving cars, people often ask me about that. Even if every car made and sold tomorrow was self-driving, there's still approximately 251 million cars on the road at any given time that are not. So I don't really think that self-driving cars are really going to be here anytime soon. Now, they may be here in certain types of stages, but I don't think it's something that needs to concern us as collision repairs. You see, why self-driving cars get all the news, kind of like the Kardashian sisters, really the primary focus of the vehicle manufacturers are to build vehicles that will prevent accidents where there's fatalities. You see, in 2014, the World Health Organization stated that 1.24 million people die in traffic accidents every year. And the World Health Organization predicted in 2014, now keep in mind in 2014, they said if nothing changed, people dying as a result of car accidents would be the 5th leading cause of death by 2030. So keep in mind, in 2014, the World Health Organization said, look, if nothing changes in the next 16 years, people dying as a result of car accidents will be the 5th leading cause of death. Now, at that time, Toyota, because they have a huge focus on safety, they did some research to figure out what were the main causes of traffic fatalities, accidents where people died. And they found that the #1 cause was vehicle-on-vehicle collisions. That's what led to the collision avoidance systems like adaptive cruise control and autonomous braking. The second thing they saw that was accidents that led to fatalities was traffic lane departures, which is what led to blind spot monitors. And thirdly was poor night visibility, what led to the new technologies with headlights. So ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind in 2014, the World Health Organization stated that people dying as a result of car accidents would be the 5th leading cause of death by 2030 in 16 years. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's see how we did at the end of 2017 and the beginning of 2018. If you were here in front of me, I would ask you, what do you think the top leading cause of death was in North America? I'll give you a few moments to see what you think. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you said heart disease, you're right. Heart disease was the #1 leading cause of death in North America, United States and Canada. What do you think the second leading cause of death was? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was cancer, followed by chronic lower respiratory disease. And ladies and gentlemen, what the World Health Organization thought was going to take 16 years to happen actually happened in less than 4. People dying as a result of accidents was the 4th leading cause of death in North America. And ladies and gentlemen, while self-driving cars get all the news, the important thing to understand is that's really what the primary focus of the vehicle manufacturers is to build vehicles that will prevent accidents where people may die. So you say, well, Mike, what's this all got to do with telematics and connected cars? Well, first of all, it's all about first responder time. You see, if you live in the state of Illinois and you're in an accident, emergency medical technicians, their average response time is about 6 minutes. But you see, if you lived in Wyoming, the average response time is 35 minutes, 44.4 seconds. You see, ladies and gentlemen, the difference between life and death after an automobile accident is really tied into how quickly the EMTs can respond. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes when an accident occurs in a rural area, nobody notifies the EMTs until someone's driving by, as opposed to a major metropolitan city. So when a vehicle can notify the OEM manufacturer that a vehicle's been in an accident, not only can EMTs be dispatched quicker, but in the event of congestion or traffic, they can also help the EMTs to determine the best route to get there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, globally, road traffic crashes are the leading cause of death for people ages 15 to 29 years old, and it claims more than 1.25 million lives a year. Now, if you also look over to the chart on the right, you will see the countries that have the most vehicle deaths as a result of a crash. And you will see that the United States, ladies and gentlemen, had the lowest reduction. That means that other countries have made vast improvements to actually take and decrease the amount of traffic fatalities from an accident. Now, that may be due to tougher drunk driving laws. It could be due to better highways. It could be due to features on a vehicle, right? But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, the United States has actually been the slowest country of all the modern world countries to actually reduce the amount of traffic deaths. So ladies and gentlemen, because of this, telematics and connected cars with the ability to dispatch the EMTs quicker is a huge deal to not just the OEM manufacturers, but to the public in general. Now, keep in mind that, again, there's a difference between telematics and connected cars. I got to tell you, if you ever have the chance to hear my good friend Sean Carey on a webinar, he's very, very knowledgeable in regards to this. But ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, when a vehicle is connected to the internet and it can notify the OEM manufacturers when a vehicle is in an accident, then it can transmit vehicle data instantly to first responders in an emergency. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure that all of us can recollect with sadness the day that 911 happened. Well, ladies and gentlemen, one of the other things that I've understood with talking with government officials as well as OEM manufacturers is that the other benefit to telematics in a connected car is that if we ever had a natural catastrophe happens, whether it's a wildfire, whether it's a tornado, a hurricane, or unfortunate event like 911, it would also be a lot easier to communicate with consumers in order to help them to find shelter in the event of emergency. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, telematics and connected vehicles will save lives. Here's some other statistics for you. Worldwide, ladies and gentlemen, 1.2 million people die each year in car accidents. If you look down here, that's 3,287 deaths every day. And you'll see right here, that's one person every 15 minutes. So ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, we all know that telematics and connected cars also give the vehicle the ability that should a consumer become drowsy or anything like that, it might also alert them or wake them up. So ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, everybody's like, okay, Mike, I get you, I believe it, I see it, but when's it really going to happen? Well, we're going to talk about that now. First of all, in my mind, there are three key things that need to occur before we will actually see all of this take hold and start to affect our industry. First of all, vehicles need to have the technology, meaning vehicles have to have the ability for the car to be connected to the internet. The second thing that needs to happen is there must be a generational shift, meaning that you got to have somebody that's okay with their vehicle connected to the internet. You see, my dad's 81 years old. He doesn't want OnStar, Uncle Sam, or anybody else to know where he's at or what he's doing. He does not want his car connected to the internet. But my 27-year-old niece, who has a 3-year-old old boy, she wants her car connected to the internet so that she can stream movies for him to watch while she's driving. In addition, my 25-year-old niece, Sydney, she doesn't actually buy CDs. She streams her music on her phone. So as we have a generational shift where the younger generation wants their car and sees the advantages of their car being connected as opposed to privacy concerns, that's the second thing that needs to happen. And the third is it's got to be affordable. So let's take a look at these three trends. First of all, according to the statistics that I've researched and the conferences I've attended, what I've been informed is that around 2022, 87% of all vehicles in the US will be shipped or built or sold in the United States where they have the ability for the vehicle to be equipped with telematics. So in my prediction, I believe that in 2022, 19, 20, 21, 22, 4 years away from now is when we're going to see this big shift, because that's when the majority of the vehicles will have the ability to be equipped with telematics. The second thing is we obviously have to have that generational shift. So in the next 4 to 5 years, I think you'll see a lot more people that see the advantages of their vehicle being connected to the internet as opposed to privacy concerns. So now it brings us to the third point, which is affordability. According to the studies that I've seen, and according to IHS, the average United States citizen is willing to pay $484 a year to have their vehicle connected to the internet. So affordability is also the key to gaining traction. Now, if you go to GM, currently right now, General Motors offers unlimited 4G for approximately $22 a month. However, you can go to GM's website and you can see where it says right here, GM OnStar, find the right plan for you. And you can put in there what's important to you in regards to your connectivity options, and it gives you a price. And I've seen prices by going on this website anywhere from $22 a month up to $89 a month. Let's go ahead and look right here. You'll see in March of 2017 is when General Motors did a press release saying you could have unlimited 4G for $20 a month. But keep in mind, they have a variety of plans. Let's look right here at Nissan Connect. Look at Nissan's website. It says Nissan Connect is free for 3 years. So ladies and gentlemen, when we start thinking about affordability, when the OEM manufacturers make it free, well, then I think we've overcome that obstacle. You also see right here, again, that Lexus Safety Connect, it says is complimentary for up to 10 years. So ladies and gentlemen, as we get to the affordability, and by the way, I believe like Hyundai is free for the first 2 years, and after that it's $17 a month, and other vehicle manufacturers. So again, 87% of all vehicles sold in the US will be equipped with the ability to be connected by 2022. Secondly is we'll have a generational shift. And number 3 is affordable. Well, I think free is pretty affordable. So again, as we start to see these trends, I do believe that around 2022, which is 4 years from now, you'll start to see our industry changed quite a bit. Now, let's talk about the impact of the vehicle being connected to the internet via telematics or connected cars. And let's talk about the impact that that will have in regards to the damage analysis process. Yes, you heard me correctly. The damage analysis process, meaning how we rate estimates or analyze the damage after an accident. So let me ask you, are you ready for this? This right here was shared with me by my good friend Jake Rodenroth from Aztec. Jake's grandfather, we'll call him Grandpa Bob, took his vehicle to an auto body shop. After his grandfather dropped his vehicle off, and this is a GM product, by the way, at the auto body shop, his grandfather the very next day got this right here, this email from General Motors. You'll see right here, it says, Dear Bob Rodenroth, there is a diagnostic alert for your vehicle this month requiring immediate attention. Now, I want you to note what you see in red, diagnostic alert, immediate attention, that was highlighted by General Motors in the email. And basically, it told him that there was a problem or some concerns with his right headlight and right turn signal. So what happened in this instance? Well, in this instance, the auto body shop went to remove the headlight and the turn signal to replace the fender. Well, when they removed it, the vehicle was connected to OnStar. It automatically generated an email to GM, who then sent an email to Grandpa Bob that said, hey, there's a problem with your headlight and turn signal, when the reality is there really wasn't a problem, it was just disconnected. So what should this shop have done? What this shop have done is what this shop should have done, is they should have disabled OnStar first. Now, the procedure to disable OnStar will vary based on the GM product, but typically it's like a fuse or a link in the trunk area that you would remove. It's important that as collision repairers, we identify when vehicles are connected to a connected service like Nissan Connect, Toyota Safety Connect, GM OnStar, AcuraLink, Hyundai BlueLink, etc. Why? Because we have to disable those as more and more cars are connected to the internet. If we do not, then the customers will get alerted. We're going to end up with a lot of angry customers calling us and contacting us, which could result in a negative CSI experience for both the insurer, the OEM, as well as the consumer. Let me show you another example. Now, there was a good friend of mine, and his wife actually had a Lexus, and she actually took it to a body shop, and the body shop went to replace the door. And when they went to replace the door, what happened was the Lexus was connected to Safety Connect. That's Lexus's version of OnStar, like GM. Well, what happened was when they actually took the door apart, the consumer actually got 6 emails in one day from Lexus saying, hey, there's a problem with your door, right? Now, what should the shop have done? And yeah, you'll see it right there. She got 6 emails in one day. What should the shop have done? What they should have done is they should have accessed Toyota Lexus's OEM repair procedure website, TIS. And when they went to there and they put the VIN number in, you will see at the bottom where it says Telematics Subscription, Safety Connect, and it would say either active or inactive. And had it been active, then they would have known that they needed to disable the Safety Connect system. If it said inactive, then they would have been okay. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, because of the fact that they did not take and disable this system, when it notified the customer via emails through Safety Connect, Lexus then requires in their own repair procedures that you actually have to replace something called a bulb, and that's a backup battery. So what happens is some of these telematics features, when they notify the OEMs, they have a one-time use battery that actually has to be replaced. And in this instance, in this Lexus, they should have. So what should this shop have done? They should have researched that Lexus through Safety Connect, the OEM's direct website, to determine if the vehicle was connected to Safety Connect or not. And by the way, while I understand there are some absolutely valid points to using third-party software to research and repair procedures, I have yet to find any way to determine if a vehicle is connected other than going directly to Lexus's TIS. So, ladies and gentlemen, what you can see is that as the industry changes and we have more vehicles that are connected to the internet, we are going to have to rethink our strategy on how we approach these vehicles to write the damage analysis. But more importantly is, do we need to disable these systems before the consumer gets notified via email, which could result in poor CSI, or in the case of this Lexus, the backup battery, when it was notified, would be a one-time use part. And at the end of the day, as a collision repairer, if that part gets deactivated or that battery is used in order to send a notification to the OEM and we should have disabled it, we may be responsible and incur the cost of doing that. So let's talk a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, about some final thoughts before we open up for Q&A. First of all, I absolutely believe that telematics and connected vehicles will impact the way that consumers find us. You see, again, when you're in an accident, the OEM manufacturers will be notified when an accident occurs, and they're going to have the ability to communicate with the consumer and say, Mr. Jones, your vehicle notifies you an accident. Are you okay? Do you have a shop in mind? And if not, we'll be glad to tow your vehicle for free to a certified shop. However, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think outside the box a little bit. First of all, one of the things that I've had the opportunity to learn recently is through a company called Podium. And that is they talk a lot about how you show up in a Google search. What I know from personal experience is that it's not uncommon to go to Google and type in something like best pizza delivery near me, best hotel near the airport, best auto body shop. So understand that 3 of the biggest common search terms that people use when they're searching on the internet is best whatever near me. So those 2 terms, best near me, best near me. Now keep this in mind, right? Consumers in an accident, and an insurance company may say, hey, we refer you to OEM, ABC body shop. That consumer still may get on the internet and do a Google search and say best body shop near me and want to look at those reviews. That's the way the world works today. People do manual reviews. But where the industry is moving is to voice activated searches. Not even the industry, it's where the world is moving. So keep this in mind, right? Now in your Lexus, you can be driving down the road and you can do a voice activated search in your Lexus. So you can say, hey, Alexa, best pizza delivery near me. But what happens when they're in an accident and they say, hey, Alexa, best body shop near me, or best Lexus shop near me? Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that the telematics and connected car, that whole thing as it starts to gain speed, is going to be critical that you actually show up at the top of the search engines so that if people do a voice activated search, you will show up. You see, if I do a manual search, it might show me the top 5 auto body shops. But if I go and I do a voice activated search, then it might show only 1. And as we start to see these connected vehicles and voice activated searches, it absolutely could affect the way that people might find you or validate if you're a good referral from an OEM or insurer. And you look right here, you'll see the Lexus Inform remote is complimentary for the first year of ownership. Ladies and gentlemen, from what I've been told and all the research I've seen, is that by 2020, the voice searches will be the future for search engine optimization. And they are saying, ladies and gentlemen, that 50% of all searches will be voice searches. So if we know that, again, someone's driving down the road, they're in an accident, and they need help, they're going to do a voice activated search. How do you make sure your body shop shows up at the top of those searches? Again, you'll see right here, ladies and gentlemen, and this comes from a magazine article that I read online, and then it said 41% of adults conduct at least 1 voice search per day, and that number will continue to rise. But by 2020, voice searches are expected to account for 50% of all online inquiries, which is going to be up from 20% in 2016. So ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind, you're driving down the road, and you say, hey Siri, or hey Alexa. So ladies and gentlemen, as we have a summary here, and it's kind of funny because my Alexa just popped up and dinged when I said her name. But ladies and gentlemen, as a summary here, I do believe that telematics and connected vehicles will change the way that consumers determine which collision repair facility they choose. I do believe that the OEM manufacturers will be involved with first notice of loss. Now, sometimes they will be the first point of contact, and in some cases, some OEMs may partner with insurers. Secondly, is I think it's really important as a call to action that you start educating your estimators and technicians. What are the names of the different connected services in the different vehicle manufacturers, and what's the proper way to identify if the vehicle's connected, as well as how to disable the connected car subscription service before you take the car apart. And think about voice activated searches in the future. If it's done from the vehicle, will you even show up? So ladies and gentlemen, a couple other things. It's always my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, that in this industry, it's an exciting time. I also believe, ladies and gentlemen, that as we have more connected and telematics cars, telematics and connected cars, a lot of people ask me, Mike, do you think eventually the OEMs will be able to do their own scans and we won't have to do pre and post scans? I can tell you that my personal experience from seeing some of the applications with some of the OEM manufacturers is they're very limited right now in what they can do. They can't identify a consumer if the tire pressure is low or the oil needs to be changed. But it doesn't do the manual output functionality test that's required on a pre or post repair diagnostic scan. Now, does that mean it can't happen in the future? There's always that possibility. But as of right now, that can't. So Fred, I hope you and your audience found a great value in this. Please, I'd like to take a moment to see if there's any questions. And if not, people can always reach out to me afterwards. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what CIECA does, there's a lot of tireless efforts that go on behalf of Fred and Charlie and Stacy. I would encourage you to reach out to CIECA. They do a lot of work for our industry that they don't get much credit for. And I just want you to know with the team at CIECA that I'm Mike Anderson, Collision Advice. I personally appreciate all you do. So any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Yeah, we've got one question here, Mike, and it says, as with any remote connected systems, hacking and tampering is a realistic concern. What additional technology might OEM manufacturers have up their sleeve?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a concern about hacking, and I think you're going to have different levels of firewall protection, for the OEM, because you definitely don't want somebody to hack in and mess with your adaptive cruise control or something. So I definitely think that there's a lot of going on behind the scenes in regards to research on that. So it's a very valid point. And from the conferences I've attended, the articles I've read, the people I've met, that's definitely something that they are moving forward with rather quickly. I think you're also going to see different levels of like connected car and different levels of the telematics. I think Sean Carey at a conference I attended, he had a great presentation that I think there's like 3 different levels of it. But I definitely think I know that's a concern. It's something the OEMs are researching. But I think that they just realize that it's just the way the future is moving. So I think that they're moving that up a little bit quicker than they probably had in the past.
Okay, thank you. All right. Well, thank you, Mike. That was a great presentation. This concludes today's CIECAst. Please check out our lineup of CIECAst for 2019 by visiting the Events tab on our website. Also on that tab, you will find our annual conference, Connects 2019. It will be held September 16th through the 18th in Charlottesville. Please go to www.CIECAconnects.com. There will also be in addition to those informational sessions, there will be a tour of the IIHS facility. You will get to see the connected car in operation on their facility. I believe they've got a 5-acre track there that we'll be able to visit. This is one conference you will not want to miss. If you're interested in AMI credits, please look for an email within the next couple of days. Don't forget to follow CIECA on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Thank you for keeping abreast of CIECA's developments. Our standards are built by volunteers from all industry segments. For those that have contributed to our standards, we thank you. If you're not yet involved, and would like to participate, please contact Charlie Quirt or myself. As always, the video of this presentation will be available on the CIECA website within 48 hours. Again, thank you, Mike, and thank you, our audience, for participating. Have a great day.